You're listening to a Roddenberry podcast.
Today is Wednesday, August 11th, 2021, and this is your daily Star Trek news from the Roddenberry Podcast Network. On today's show, actor Jerry O'Connell says Star Trek Lower Decks is a celebration of all things Trek. Reference book Star Trek Shipyards gets a future-looking update. Robert Picardo's free autograph challenge has resulted in a sizable uptake of the COVID-19 vaccine, and I've got today's journey to the past in Star Trek history. I'm Alison Pitt, and today's show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Get 10% off your first month of counseling at betterhelp.com/DSTN. With just one more day left until new Star Trek appears, Jerry O'Connell has chimed in with his thoughts about Lower Decks Season 2 in an interview posted to trekmovie.com. In the interview, he shares his thoughts on the upcoming journeys of the USS Cerritos, as well as the acceptance the offbeat show has found from an initially skeptical fan base. O'Connell said, "When we went to Comic-Con 2 years ago, I think people, especially Star Trek fans, were very cautious of us. The threats I endured, you better not be insulting us, but from what I've read, it's been really well received." O'Connell then summed up how he thinks Lower Decks managed to win the hearts of Trekkies everywhere, saying, "We're a real homage to all things Trek. We're a celebration of all things Trek. We're Starfleet. We're not outsiders making fun of Starfleet." Reflecting on the future of Commander Jack Ransom, O'Connell offered a glimpse of some of the relational dynamics in store for the Cerritos first officer. "I'm really pleased to say that a lot of my storyline this season is with Mariner, with Tawny Newsome. I'm going to really push her as far as I can. And I think it's because Commander Ransom sees real promise in Mariner. It's a fun season that I have with her." Now, O'Connell offered a few other tidbits in the interview, including his thoughts on who can bench more, Jack Ransom or himself, and his thoughts on living with another Starfleet first officer, his wife, Strange New Worlds' Rebecca Romijn. O'Connell's excitement at being part of the Star Trek universe really shines through in this article, and you can soak in that excitement now at trekmovie.com. Now, yesterday we told you about an upcoming book of Star Trek ships, which was no doubt exciting to hear, but there is more. According to the Trek Collective, Hero Collector is also coming out this month with a new volume in their Star Trek Shipyards series. Starfleet Ships 2294 to the Future is an updated edition of that title and takes into account new ships from Star Trek Discovery, Star Trek Picard, and Star Trek Lower Decks as well. Now, some of those include the new 32nd Century ships, the USS Discovery A, the USS Cerritos, the Titan, and the Vancouver. It also corrects the omission from the first edition of the Akira class, which was seen in Star Trek The Next Generation, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and Star Trek Voyager. This volume represents the first time that a book in the series has been updated, and the illustrations feature CG artwork, including VFX models produced for the show. The Trek Collective notes that the Star Trek Shipyards series builds upon content from the various versions of Eagle Moss's official Starships collection, along with some new pages to catalog the starships of the Star Trek universe. Starfleet Ships 2294 to the Future will be available on August 24th, and you can pre-order it now at Amazon.com or wherever you get your books. For more on the upcoming Star Trek Shipyards book, including sample pages, visit thetrekcollective.com. More news in just a moment, and I'll be taking you back in time to find out what happened this week in Star Trek history. But first, a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. All this week, I'm telling you about BetterHelp's affordable, convenient, and professional online counseling service, but you don't have to take my word for it. Go to betterhelp.com/DSTN to read what other people have said about the counselors that they've worked with. And while you're there, you can also check out what places like the New York Times, the Chicago Tribune, and the Wall Street Journal have had to say. Over 1 million people have used BetterHelp to take charge of their mental health, and you can too. I want you to start living a happier life today. And as a daily Star Trek news listener, you can get 10% off your first month of counseling by visiting betterhelp.com/DSTN. Again, that's betterhelp, HELP.com/DSTN. DSTN. 2 weeks ago, Star Trek Voyager actor Robert Picardo offered Star Trek fans an autographed photograph with proof of vaccination against COVID-19. As long as fans met certain conditions, they'd receive an autographed photo of Picardo in exchange for getting vaccinated during a 7-day window beginning July 26th. On August 2nd, Picardo posted to Twitter again, extending the time frame of his vaccine challenge through August 5th. Now, along with extending the deadline, Picardo took his offer not one but 2 steps further, offering autographed photos to 20 eager fans who convinced a friend to get vaxxed by August 5th. Picardo also offered 5 previously vaccinated fans who retweeted his challenge an autographed photo. Those lucky fans were chosen at random. Now, while Picardo hasn't disclosed how many fans took up his offer, his re-upped offer was retweeted more than 3,000 times. And writer and fan Jay Stobie, who helped Picardo coordinate the effort, indicated that the number was significant. Because of Robert Picardo's generosity, he said, a sizable number of people chose to get vaccinated in the past week. I'm humbled to have helped in a very small way. Picardo responded to Stobie's post in true Star Trek fashion, saying, "Thanks for your help, Jay. I encourage everyone to trust the data, trust the science, protect your loved ones and yourself, and please, #get vaccinated." Now, if you or your loved ones haven't yet had the COVID-19 vaccine and you want more information, including what's in it, where you can get one, what to expect in terms of side effects, and how much it costs, spoiler alert, it's completely free, visit the CDC's official vaccine website at vaccines.gov. And now a look back into Star Trek history. It was today, August 11th, back in 1942, that actor Laurel Goodwin was born. Goodwin is the only currently living credited cast member of the original Star Trek pilot episode The Cage, in which she played Yeoman J.M. Colt. Born in Wichita, Kansas, Goodwin began her career as a child model, making her screen debut as Elvis Presley's love interest in 1962's Girls, Girls, Girls. She went on to appear in 3 additional films, including the Jackie Gleason comedy Papa's Delicate Condition. She was also a guest on several television series, including Mannix, Get Smart, and of course, Star Trek. In The Cage, Ensign Colt, along with Number 1, was taken prisoner by the inhabitants of Talos 4 to be offered as a potential mate to Captain Pike. When a new pilot was filmed, almost the entire cast was replaced with the exception of a certain pointy-eared Vulcan, and Yeoman Colt was no exception, being replaced by one Yeoman Smith, played by Andrea Drom. Once the series was picked up, Smith was replaced by Yeoman Rand, played by Grace Lee Whitney, and several episodes into Season 1, Rand was written out altogether. Womp womp. Now, Goodwin retired from acting in 1971, becoming a home nurse, a career that she continued to practice for over 35 years. When her husband became ill, she took care of him full-time until his death. Please join us in wishing Laurel Goodwin a very happy 79th birthday and wishing her many more to come. Tune in again next Wednesday for more Star Trek history. Well, that's it for today's daily Star Trek news from the Roddenberry Podcast Network. Don't forget to check out the other great shows on the network at podcasts.roddenberry.com. Daily Star Trek News is produced by me, Alison Pitt, and written by Chris Peterson, Jack Brown, and David Powell, with history by T. Rick Jones. Today's show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Get 10% off your first month of counseling at betterhelp.com/DSTN. I'm back tomorrow with more of the Star Trek news you need to know and the weekend's Star Trek events. I'm Alison Pitt. Live long and prosper.
This is a Roddenberry podcast. For more great podcasts, visit podcast.roddenberry.com.